Hello everybody and welcome back to The Somnium Files Explained. Yes, we're tackling the events of the first game again, and it is good to be back. I apologize greatly for the delay of this and upcoming videos. My original desire was to complete coverage of the Somnium Files so I could tackle the Nirvana initiative with this under my belt, but as we all know, life typically tends to interrupt our plans. Since it's been so long, we're going to do a quick recap of the events so far. The body of Shoko Nadami was found on a merry-go-round in the rundown Bloom Park. The area had been publicly condemned due to local contaminations from recent chemical plant explosions. Detective Kaname Date works with the MPD in a unit called Abyss, or Advanced Brain Investigation Squad, in an attempt to solve the case. Shoko was found tied to a horse with several stab wounds in her chest and her left eye removed. Upon investigation, Date finds Mizuki Okiura, Shoko's daughter, hidden inside the central column of the merry-go-round, holding the murder weapon, the bloodied ice pick. It's then revealed that Mizuki had been on the scene because she had received a message on her phone telling her to come to the park at night, so she enlisted her friend Ota Matsushita to accompany her. They found Shoko's body and Ota ran off, terrified, leaving Mizuki to deal with the situation from her dead mother, pulling the ice pick out of her eye socket. It is notable, though, that the eye was gone before she ever did this. From this situation, Date takes Mizuki into the hospital to be checked over. Due to circumstances with Mizuki's parents, it led her bunking in Date's apartment, since he was close friends with her father, Renju Okiura. Knowing both of her parents have their fair share of problems and are, as he says, terrible parents, he takes her in and takes care of her. It's especially concerning finding her at the scene and succinctly mute from the trauma of finding her mother like that. As he rested in Mizuki's hospital room overnight, Date fell asleep and saw a dream constructed out of his own memories, from before he received amnesia 6 years ago. In his dream, he saw a woman shot and bleeding on the floor, and a man holding a gun standing beside her. Date meets up with his boss, funnily enough called Boss, and she suggests that Date sync with Mizuki to help assist her with her trauma and heal her aphonia. Syncing is the act of using a machine dubbed the Sync Machine, created by Abyss's head scientist, Pewter. Using this machine, a syncer, Date's official role, will sync up with the subject's unconscious mind to investigate their dreams and uncover information and interact with their subconscious. Here, we reached a branch in the story based on how Date interacted with Mizuki's subconscious, dubbed her Somnium. In one timeline, we followed the mystery to one Ota Matsushita and learned the troubles that his mother, Mayumi Matsushita, had faced during their time in the Kabasaki district. In another timeline, we helped cure Mizuki's aphonia and helped her come to the truth of her own parents' failures. Another fact from the other timelines was that Date and Aiba had witnessed the silhouette of the killer in the outskirts of the park. When they had cured Mizuki, the pair investigated Bloom Park again at night, where they discovered surveillance footage of Renju's car in the area at the time of the crime. When they searched for him, they headed to the maid's cafe Sunfish Pocket, where they found Renju's corpse inside with his left eye missing. This timeline, however, is going to differ from this point. Back during Mizuki's Somnium, we initially had a branch between which birdcage to open during the segment. However, here, we're going to instead not be choosing to lift the cage, but instead the entire merry-go-round itself. Underneath, a curious sight is revealed.
Iris? Why? Why is Iris...
She appears to be frozen.
What the hell is going on? What is this?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I'm sorry! Why do you never keep quiet? Is this fun for you? Giving your mother a hard time? That hurts! Please stop! I'm sorry! Why are you here? I'm sorry! If you weren't here, everything would be fine. I'm sorry! Apologizing means nothing! Say something! Don't make me into the bad guy! But... What's that look, huh? Ow! I'm It's all your fault. You. I wish you had never been born.
Mizuki's voice. The other voice is likely...
Damn. What's going on here? Aiba, look out!
What?
After discovering a body that looks crazy similar to Iris, we get a deeper look into Mizuki's trauma. The merry-go-round returns, and Aiba attempts to comfort Mizuki.
Mizuki. Mom loves you, Mizuki. I love you. I am so glad that you were born. So glad.
Hey, do you hear something?
Is that... a phone ringing?
Where's it coming from?
Date, don't! You can't stay any longer!
Coming up from the sink, we learn that Mizuki has not been healed from Merryphonia. He attempts to question Mizuki further, but since she remains mute, she is unable to continue questioning. Fearing seeing Iris's body, Mizuki's somnium was some sort of premonition. Date has Aiba ring up Iris, and he asks her to stay home for the time being, and she agrees, on the condition that he goes on a date with her. Begrudgingly, he agrees, telling her to call him if she needs anything. Date heads up to Bloom Park, although along the way we get an interesting radio report.
Now the news. Yesterday night, the body of Shoko Nadami was found. Her body was recovered from the now-defunct Bloom Park in the Kawasaki district. Autopsy reports revealed that her time of death was roughly 5 p.m. last afternoon. Police have determined that the victim was killed elsewhere and then brought to Bloom Park to be put on display. The MPD has expanded the scope of their investigation and are encouraging anyone with any information to come forward. In other news, at 6:10 p.m. today, on the outer circle of the Capital City Highway in Minato District, Tokyo, a traffic collision occurred involving 5 cars and at least 1 truck. As a result of the pileup, 1 man was sent to the hospital unconscious in critical condition. 6 other individuals were treated for minor injuries. MPD has arrested the driver of the truck suspected to be the cause of the accident for negligence. The investigation is ongoing.
Once Date arrives at the end, he is able to find the phone stuffed inside one of the horses. Aiba is able to retrieve from the inside, and they find that it was only a single call in the phone's history. Date calls it, and it manages to connect.
Call it. My name is Kaname Date. I'm with the Metropolitan Police Department.
Are you an idiot?
They hung up.
Oh, you think so? What kind of low IQ ignoramus calls a suspicious number and says they are from the police?
I couldn't help it. I wasn't ready. I just said the first thing that came into my head.
You told me to call.
I didn't think it would work.
Disappointing. There is no other word for it.
You're telling me. Aiba, can you call it again? I'll be ready this time, I swear.
Are you sure?
Yeah, trust me.
The number you have dialed is no longer in service.
Damn, call deny.
Call deny?
Yeah, call denied.
Oh, the thing Reika from the Cabaret Club did to your number.
Damn, you remember that?
After being unsuccessful to connect with the number again, Date decides to head to the Sagan residence to follow up on his prophecy theory. While at Iris's, he learns she did in fact stay home according to his request, although her mother had left a little earlier because she had gotten a Nile message from someone. Date heads out, only intending to check up on her, but before he leaves, Iris asks Date to check out her livestream at 1 a.m. Oh, other histories may look down on us kindly.
Because sometime real soon,
I'm going to die.
On the next day, Date meets up with Boss back at Abyss HQ, and Boss explains to Date that Renju has been located. He was in the hospital after getting in an accident on the highway. She also reports that the phone inside the horse that Date found was in fact Shoko Nadami's phone, but it was unlikely that the killer was the one who had called it, as the call was made after her death. Aiba also had traced Mizuki's phone back to Date's home, meaning that she has since left the hospital. Date returns home and finds that Mizuki has begun talking again, and that Hitomi had stayed the night. Hitomi explains that she had left Iris the night before because Mizuki had sent her the message on Nile. Hitomi is Mizuki's homeroom teacher. Mizuki confirms the information of the case that Date had been guessing at, that Renju was the one who sent the message to Mizuki to come to Bloom Park, and that Shoko's eye was removed from before Mizuki had taken the ice pick out of her eye socket. She explains that Renju really wanted Hitomi to be Mizuki's teacher, going so far as to move to the same district prior to his divorce with Shoko.
That's...
A plate of medical-grade titanium in her right shoulder.
Oh.
Oh, does it bother you?
Can you not move it?
No, I can't even feel it, I'm afraid.
Was there an accident, or...?
I suppose you might call it that. About 6 years ago, I was shot in the shoulder. The nerves died and... Anyway, the story is, one day a criminal broke into my house. He was carrying a gun. From the way he talked, he sounded insane.
Drugs?
Maybe. The police statement said that he wasn't under the influence of anything. Just a random crime.
Date heads to the hospital to speak with Renju, but unfortunately he learns that Renju had escaped the hospital in the night. They had performed a successful surgery on him, but once he stabilized they could not find him. Date calls Lemniscate and manages to get in contact with the receptionist, who does not know where Renju is, but did know that he had decided to rent out Sunfish Pocket. Heading up to Marble, Date finds Mama and decides to ask some questions. Mama says she doesn't know where Renju is currently, but remembers the time when Date and Renju were drinking at the bar together, and Date accidentally spilled his beer on Renju's watch. He got insanely furious, and said the watch was more important than his life. Mama says that his new lover gave it to him as an anniversary gift. She is specific to note that the new lover came into the picture after the divorce. On Shoko, Mama suggested that the Kumakura gang were responsible, as Shoko was involved in a fraud case that was entangled with the Kumakuras. Date heads to Sunfish Pocket, where he meets Amame Doi, and instantly recognizes footage from the Lemniscate ARG. This was all the way back when Iris was getting her first look at playing the game, and now we have a lot more context here. Amame Doi is a mermaid at Sunfish Pocket who has a lot of interest in the paranormal, similar to Iris. Fun fact, largely based off of the Japanese legend of Amebi, a one-eyed mermaid with 3 legs who's said to appear at times of good harvest or of epidemics. Here he meets up with Ota and questions him on Renju's whereabouts. Neither he nor Amame know where Renju is, but Ota offers up the information that he's concerned about Iris, as her livestream last night ended really weirdly.
Worried about Tessa.
Iris, what's the matter?
Yesterday night. Well, it was past midnight, so more like this morning?
I don't care about the timing. What happened?
Tessa was streaming, as usual, from her living room at home. But suddenly... Actually, let me just show you. I always record her streams.
I'm kinda nervous. It's been a while. Got it. I'll try my best. Okay, everyone! Here's my debut song. Let's hit it! gotta go for now. I'll sing the rest next time. Bye.
Date tries giving him a call, but receives no connection. He leaves and tries to head up to the Kumakura office to follow on the lead of Shoko's illegal activity, and he gets in a fight with two of the Yakuza members similar to Another History, and he similarly questions Moma Kumakura for any involvement with Shoko.
What?
The chairman is right in front of you.
What?
I run the Kumakura gang. I'm Moma Kumakura.
That can't be right. The chairman of the Kumakuras is Rohan. You aren't the chairman.
Yo, asshole. You need a lesson in manners?
Date, wait. I did some research and discovered that Rohan Kumakura died last year. He leapt to his death from the roof of a building.
A suicide?
But Moma did not take over last year. Moma took over 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Here, Date discovers a set figure hidden in the safe using Aiba's X-ray vision, and realizes that if he has a figure, he's gotta be a fan of A-Set. Finally, having some leverage for conversation, he holds it over Moma's head, and Moma finally talks.
Hey, you wouldn't happen to be a fan of A-Set, would you?
What? Who's that?
A schoolgirl internet idol. You know what I'm talking about.
Think you can get away with talking to our boss like that? He's tough as bricks and hard as nails. You'd never be into pussy shit like that, you fucker.
Water.
Wait, sweat. A-Set! A-Set, you bet!
Fears.
Upset? Regret? A-Set!
Shadows.
Threat! Silhouette! A-Set!
Just as I thought.
Boss? What's this?
Shut up! Don't look at me! Get out of here! Did you hear me? I said get the fuck out of here!
Yes, sir.
I've got your secret now. If you don't want that to get out, you better answer my questions.
Yeah, I got it. How did you know?
You're hiding an A-Set figure in the safe.
How did you know that?
I have superpowers.
Yeah, sure. Rohan was my older brother. He was my big brother in this organization, and my blood brother. But he's gone now.
The suicide.
Yeah, after breaking out of the hospital. Right. We do have connections with the investment company Shoko worked at.
A company that commits fraud.
No comment. Anyway, we never had any problems with Shoko. There'd be no reason for us to kill her. Us Kumakuras are a branch of the Ujisaki family. The Ujisaki family runs a yearly golf tournament. Mandatory attendance. We were all at the tournament those days. We only got back this morning. You can ask the hotel. They'll tell you.
Date, I did some research. The hotel's record of guests does list the Kumakura members. They were also seen on several surveillance cameras. It is not possible that any of the Kumakuras could have killed Shoko, including Moma.
About 20 years back, both he and I were the new guys in the Ujisaki family.
The Ujisakis are above the Kumakuras in the hierarchy.
At the time, we were in a turf war with a rival gang. One day, one of their boys walks in here and beats my bro's face in with a metal bat. His vision's been fucked on the right side ever since. The doctors say he can still see, but it doesn't register. Like, he only eats food off the left side of his plate. And if he's drawing a picture or whatever, he only draws the left side.
Date, a question for Moma. Is Rohan left-handed?
Why?
Just ask him, please.
Yeah, he was.
Confirmed. Rohan must suffer from hemispatial neglect on his right side. As you are aware, the brain is divided into what is called the right brain and left brain. One side develops into the superior hemisphere, responsible for language and higher functions. The other side controls spatial recognition ability. In most people, the superior hemisphere is the left brain. In roughly 1/3 of the population, the right brain is the superior hemisphere. This is often linked to left-handedness. Moma just confirmed that Rohan was left-handed. From this, we can conclude that his right brain was his superior hemisphere, and his left brain was the inferior hemisphere.
Rohan suffered a beating on the left side of his head. That must have damaged his left brain. That caused him to lose his spatial cognitive ability.
No point hiding it, right? Yeah, I know about Shoko's ex.
Do you know where he is?
Nope, sure don't. It's not like we keep in touch or anything.
I detect no abnormalities in his thermograph.
Looks like he's not lying.
Anyway, after getting the shit beaten out of him, he changed, man. He became cold-blooded. I'm talking ruthless. One time, we captured some street bosses from a rival gang. Bro grabbed him by the big toe and took a potato peeler to him. From the toe to the thigh. Totally blank expression. Like he was scraping bonito flakes. Anyway, sick fuckers like that always end up running the world, don't they? He started climbing the ranks, and eventually he was taken in by the Ujisaki family boss. The Ujisakis decided to make him head of our gang, and that's how we became the Kumakuras. About 6 years ago, I remember him telling me about something big. Some threat to the Kumakuras that could bring us all down. He didn't give me the details, but I figured it was something from his past coming back to bite him in the ass, you know? Anyway, his plan was to handle his shit internally. Didn't want too many people knowing about it. But whatever he planned didn't work. When the chips were down, he decided to handle it himself. He ended up shooting some guy in his house. A few days later, cops busted him. Prosecution tried to get him on premeditated murder, but it was determined that he was insane at the time. Maybe they were right, you know? His head's been getting worse and worse for the past 20 years. He gets relapses and all that. Anyway, they decided to keep him in a special hospital. And naturally, because I'm his brother and next in line, I was the successor.
Hey Moma, I've got a favor to ask. Can you get me information on Renju? His whereabouts, rumors on where he might be, anything. I need some leads.
And what if I refuse?
And your gang finds out you're the world's biggest A-Set fan. In exchange for helping me, there's a reward in it for you.
A reward?
I'll let you meet A-Set.
What?
I met her yesterday at Lemniscate. We're acquaintances now.
Really?
Yeah.
You promise?
Yeah, I promise.
On the car ride home, Date and Aiba bicker back and forth about some admittedly nonsensical things. But Aiba mentions that if he keeps it up, she'll simply self-destruct in his head. Date asks if she really has that capability, and she confirms that an AI never lies. She says her body is full of cutting-edge hardware and software, and if she were ever to be stolen, that would be preventative of her technology being used for nefarious purposes. Though she clarifies she follows Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, so she cannot harm herself. But someone in a position of authority, such as Date, is allowed to issue a command for her to self-destruct. Aiba then decides to create a code to order the command, come up with the number 41205, citing it as her favorite number.
If you issue this command, I will detonate.
No, that's still too dangerous. We need some kind of safety. The number will be the first lock. If I give you the second command within 1 minute of the first...
What is the second command?
Let's see. How about if I tell a lie?
A lie?
Something that's not the truth. If I say something untrue, I want you to regard it as the second command.
Understood.
After this, Date muses on his own past. The only thing he remembers of the time 6 years ago was wandering the streets of Shinjuku until a familiar friend met with him. She helped him become a cop and get a spot with Abyss, where he met with Pewter.
The official title is AI Ball. You may call her Aiba. The artificial intelligence contained within this sphere is nothing short of miraculous. An autonomous artificial intelligence birthed from collective nanotechnology. Its ability to think is controlled by a program we call the Wadjet system. Special Agent Date, from today forward, this is your partner. She will be your personal computer and your personal companion.
After reminiscing, Date recommends Aiba call the mysterious caller from Shoko Nadami's phone, and suggests Aiba imitate Shoko to try to suss out some information. Through this, they learn the voice on the other end is none other than Congressman So Sejima. Shortly after, Date receives a call from Abyss HQ. Agent Akasuga informs him that they received a call earlier from an inmate from Fuchu Prison. Our familiar inmate number 89 says he knows who killed Shoko Nadami. Date's Aiba work in the background to look into number 89, but first they decide to look into the threat of So Sejima. I am going to make a note here that in another timeline, specifically the Green Route, we learned more about number 89's backstory before they arrived in Fuchu Prison. You can find that in the link down below. At So Sejima's residence, he finds the congressman along with 2 bodyguards. Date questions him about Shoko Nadami's murder. At first, So claims to have little knowledge of Nadami outside of her murder. But after Date provides proof of his call to Nadami 2 days after her murder, he admits that he did call her, but doesn't specify what about. He claims he had nothing to do with her murder, and he ends the conversation. Aiba puts a tracer on So's burner phone and leaves to go follow him. He ends up at the Okiura cold storage warehouse. He sees So leaving the warehouse and then drives away. As Date goes in to investigate the warehouse, Aiba tells Date her battery is low, and that she's going to be unable to assist him until he can get her on charge. He enters the cold storage warehouse alone and finds something hidden under a white sheet.
This is... It can't be. Iris. Aiba, what's your charge?
Currently at 2%.
Can you make a call?
I can. I am connected to the power supply. What do you...
Hurry. Just connect me to boss.
Date, what's wrong?
I found a body.
What?
She was murdered. Multiple stab wounds to the back, and one eye missing.
Oh no.
Location is Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse. The victim is Iris Sagan.
Iris?
I'll tell you more later. Just send CSI to the scene right away. And one more thing. Congressman So Sejima. Bring him to Abyss.
Wait a minute, why?
I'll take responsibility for everything. Just do it, please.
All right.
Because sometime real soon, I'm going to die. Or something like that. Just kidding! I'm making it all up! And also...
Tessa, we're back!